Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to one and to all. Perhaps it is Thursday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Today is unbelievably May the 28th, 2025. We are on the heels of June. So, in usual fashion, as I open, please give yourselves a huge and through another day. That's right. Give yourselves a huge round of applause for making it through and to another day. As you can see in my title, it says Happy Anniversary. And what that means to me is my 1 year, 1 year anniversary since I was hospitalized with double pneumonia that almost, almost was the end for me. Now, many of you know that I have lupus with lung disease. On top of that, I found out when I was in the hospital last year that I am diabetic. So I have some challenges, but I'm taking it day by day, stride by stride. So a little quick trip down memory lane. Last year, right before the holidays, I knew I wasn't feeling well and dealing with the condition that I have. I cough all the time. Well, a lot of the times. I have to make sure that my breathing is intact daily. And it's painful. I go through a lot of aches and pains as many people. My work day, but the next day it got to the point where I could barely walk without being so short of breath. It was so bad that usually when I'm not feeling well, I can drive myself to the ER or urgent care or whatever facilities are available. I could not at that time. It was that bad. So I ended up having to call the ambulance and then I was transported to an ER. Oh gosh, when I think back to it, I just get upset all over again. And at first they thought it was fluid buildup, so they gave me Lasix. And when I tell you, for those of you who are not familiar with a Lasix, it went right through me. And I told the little nurse tech, said, you're desatting too much. We can't allow you to go to the restroom. I asked him, I said, well, where am I supposed to relieve myself? Because I have to go like now. So he pointed over to the little porta potty and I said, I'm supposed to go in that. He said, yes, your oxygen rate is too low. It was down to 60s. That's very bad. That is extremely bad. So I was mortified. So soon as I struggled to get back in the bed with the assistance of the nurse's aides, I had to go again. So after about 3 rounds, it was out of me. That right there in itself had me thinking, oh my God, I'm about to lose my independence. Now, of course, being a woman, an older woman, I've had my upper and lower exposed for screenings and things of that nature. But that was different because I remember with my mom, and her heavenly birthday was earlier this week. So this has just been an extremely, extremely difficult month. And my auntie's was 2 days later. So I'm going through some things right now, but the Creator is getting me through. So the first thing I thought about was the look on her face when she was losing her independence, not being able to do basic things for herself. I stayed there overnight, and then they transferred me to one of the best facilities, and it wasn't good. I had to be placed on oxygen. I couldn't walk. I could not speak without coughing. It was just extremely, extremely painful. I can't even begin to describe all that I went through. I've spoken about it before, so this is just a condensed, I'm sorry, I'm very tired, condensed version where I just, that was the most horrific time that I have had with this. Mind you, I was diagnosed in 1992 at the tender age of 22. I am now 56, which I never thought I would see. So I'm so grateful and so thankful. That does not mean that I'm an angel and I've been given grace. No, I've been in the mud. My hands are not clean. I've also said that before. But I also know the assist many, many, many times. And I would always do it if I had the capability of doing so. I'm an empath and I don't like suffering. So while I was there, I experienced what I believe to be an out of body experience. I had chaplains coming in the room, I had people coming in the room singing to me, playing the harp for me. I would hear people in the rooms in front of me, on the side of me, behind me, transitioning, family members crying. So you can just imagine, in addition to oxygen tanks next to me, bedpans, um, breathing apparatuses to help me increase my breathing, doctors and nurses coming in every time I turned around, needing help to get to the restroom, to take a shower. Things, as I mentioned, that most people take for granted. I was told by specialists that I would need oxygen therapy for the rest of my life. I was facing having a bronchoscopy, and that's where they place a light down your throat to see what's going on with your lungs. And my gut told me that is something that I did not want to happen. They also spoke. I have my reasons for that, and some people may think um, that they may be selfish reasons, but I've seen what has happened to people when they've been opened, or air has hit certain things. I saw what happened to my mom, and I was totally against it. So um, the second week was really, really bad. And finally, this doctor from Nigeria came in and said, I don't think it's a good idea to have that procedure, even though it's only 10 minutes. Your color is coming back a bit, and I can see a little bit of strength, and the risks are too much. You may experience an arrest or a stroke on the table, and I don't think it's worth it. So I'm going to give you this medicine, and the medicine is for people who have had transplants. Now, the good thing is it suppressed my immune system completely. The bad part is I'm susceptible to colds or anything like that, and some people still are not acclimated with basic hygiene. So I've been on that, and it did wonders. Slowly I started to, and you can go back and see the videos, um, walk with the oxygen to formulate sentences again. I just went through so much, and when I tell you how much I cried and cried and cried, praying just for one more opportunity to be able to drive my vehicle, or to feel the breeze on my face, or feel rain on my body. Just again, basic things that people take for granted. It was it was something. I remember when I would slowly go down and look out the window and see people smiling and communing with one another. Even though I would smile, I would cry because I prayed that I would be in that position to engage in such behavior again. I was tired of the same routine every day. Breakfast from 7 to 9, having my fingers pricked to check my sugar levels in the insulin administration, and then I forget what they call it. They would um I forget. I'm sorry. They would administer this medicine um to thin your blood to avoid clots. A lot of times when people are in the hospital for a long period of time, it begins with an A. They would administer that. So I went through that. Again, teams of doctors would come in, new nurses, and you would have to tell them the same thing over and over. Again, fear, missing my parents, missing friends, just I was a burden on people because, again, I'm so used to being independent and doing things on my own. I found pleasure in nothing, even though I stayed and did not waver from prayer. I was still extremely depressed. So the next hurdle was rehab to help get my strength back. But because of insurance reasons, there was a hiccup there. So after 3 weeks, I was discharged. I cannot tell you how awkward it felt being transported back home, and learning how to drive again. And it took a while for me to even go to the grocery market again. But when I did, it felt so good. Again, basic things that people may not even enjoy doing. I found grand pleasure in doing so because, again, I never thought I would ever be able to do that, especially when you're being told by the best of the best what you won't be able to do. I'm saying all this to say no matter how difficult life may be, my Creator did not have to, and let me make this clear, my Creator did not have to bestow favor, grace, and mercy upon me by giving me another day and returning my independence. Now, could this be short lived? Absolutely. But the time that I have, the independence that I have at this time, I am going to do the best that I can do and give my testimony to those who, as I said, may be going through. We do know that we are faced with many obstacles right now. Gas prices are going up, food prices, issues with family, you name it, it's out there. Tensions are rising. This is not a time to get extremely stressed out because, as we know, and you can do your research, stress is just not good. And when you come a certain age, especially 50 and over, you may feel strong on the outside. You may look very good on the outside, but unless you have those screenings, you may not know what's going on the inside. And as we know, as a community minority, if we're upset about things, you may not have the luxury of having a blood pressure monitor next to you so you can see what your levels are. But for those of you who do, and this is something you may want to invest in, if you're crying for a long period of time, if you're arguing, or if you're just raising your voice, your blood pressure will go up. You do not want to find yourself in a position where you have high blood pressure, not at 50, not at 60. Those are the years you are preparing to relax because most of us, not all, but most of us have worked just about all of our lives. I know I started working at 15 years old, graduated of people that began working early and they continue to work now because retirement age for a lot of us is still out of reach. And again, with today's economy, if you have not had the proper investments or savings, it may be even more difficult. So, salvaging your health, your well being is extremely, extremely important. And as I said, yes, I was given another chance, but it could be short lived. I just recently went through a bout of shingles. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, shingles. Now, I knew something wasn't right. First, it was my for so long. But I remember just something not feeling right, and these strange rashes. I happened to look and notice them more. And then I looked underneath of my girl and saw a slew. I sped to urgent care, and my pressure was up. I'm like, oh my God, I thought I had C. I've had a lot, I guess I can say cancer. I've lost a lot of schoolmates to cancer, and I'm like, I don't understand. Everything else was fine. So the nurse was trying to calm me down. So, of course, a male doctor came in. They have facial recognition now. So they took footage of that, and he said, I believe it is ostrich shingles, but let me confirm that. So he came back maybe 20, 25 minutes later and said that's what that was. I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, shingles is absolutely no joke. No joke. You can Google the photos, and this is a disclaimer if you are squeamish. Luckily, luckily, they only appeared in my upper girly area, but still, it's a nerve type of condition, and there have been times where the pain has been so great. I have cried. I'm just about finished with the antiviral medication, but this can actually last for a while. So, that is my latest challenge. And as I mentioned in my post, I honestly believe that my job is done. I've shown through video, through just speaking, that sometimes what appears to be impossible can be possible. You just have to have faith, and sometimes what we may want may not be what's best for us. Sometimes we are being used as vessels. That is what our calling may be. So, as I said, in my perspective, my job is done and I'm extremely tired. I really am. As I said, my body is riddled, and of course, I'm going to continue to walk the walk that the Creator has set out for me. Um, Hopefully, things look bleak in the eyes of many, but you do have to dig your feet in, 10 toes down, and accept. And that's what I had a hard time doing. Accept what it is now. It's difficult when you don't know, but once you do, you just and be grateful and thankful for what you have. Those of you with families, those of you with loved ones, Those of you with careers and hobbies, things that make you smile, embrace those things. Raise your own personal bars. Share it with the world. I spoke briefly on a platform earlier today, and we know people are going to do what they want to do, and I understand, but I also know that sometimes people may not understand the severity, and I try to make it clear. It's different when you're behind the keyboard or behind the mic because you're hearing sounds of your super chats, maybe you're hearing sounds of your cash apps or Venmos or PayPals or other financial um, programs that may go off when people are appreciating what it is that you do. What you don't want, and I promise you, what you don't want is the sounds of a blood pressure monitor or of a heart monitor or a catheter. You don't want to have to listen to continuous beep, beep, or listening to intercoms, code blue, or the crying of family members all around you. You don't want to be engaged in your exercise and inhale bodily fluids of people who have transitioned. Those things can linger. Those things can keep you up late at night because there is something called survivor's remorse where you're wondering, why is it that you made it and these people have entire families around them, but they weren't offered the same opportunity? See, there are a lot of variables that many people don't even take the time to think about in this crazy world, in this thing called life. So I'm going to close with happy anniversary to me for being bestowed favor, grace, and mercy, and to be released from a very serious, serious medical emergency that could have been the end of me. I'm walking, I'm talking, I am working 50 plus hours a week, but I am doing what I love to do, and that is investigating, and I'm doing it legally. I had to put that out there. I'm actually at a police station right now. I finished up, and I just wanted to make sure that I put this video out now before the close of the day, because in life we know nothing is guaranteed. Anything could happen from A to B. Keep in mind, we have youngsters graduating. So if you see a youngster, congratulate them and encourage them. These are the best times of their lives. Unfortunately, at the same time, there are a lot of tragedies that come up with graduations and proms because people are not paying to what they're doing on the roads, and these young people are attending parties and engaging in behaviors that are not safe. So, parents, please speak to your babies, your young adults, about the dangers of engaging in certain behaviors. Beware of stranger danger. We're seeing and hearing a lot of horrible, horrible stories happening to our young ones. Unfortunately, tragedy knows no color, no age, no gender, no zip code, no preference. So, my only advice, and that's all I can do, is give or offer advice. Live each moment with a purpose. I hope this message touched someone in a positive way. And remember, love will conquer hate. It may not seem like that right now for some, but I believe that it does. I also believe some of the energy that you put out in the universe will come back. Some of you are experiencing it now. You're talking about what you've never done. Oh, you've done things, maybe the other people, but now it's coming back. And there's a fix to that. If you're truly sorry, just repent, because we all have sinned, and we know this, or should know this. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to my testimony. And it is a testimony of what the Creator can do. No, am I saying that all prayers are answered? Absolutely not. I cannot say that. I have prayers that have not been answered. This very moment, this very time is life, and I cannot put a price tag on that. Until next video, everyone, please be safe, be well, and you do know the rest. Be healthier. Bye bye for now.